Hi everyone, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. This is take 2. I screwed up with the other, and now I gotta start over because I don't know how to splice videos together, unfortunately. So anyway, hope you all are doing well. If you're new, just joining, welcome. This is basically, if you're returning, hello again. I appreciate you following. Um, Basically what this is a documented journey of my long COVID recovery, if you want to call it that. Basically, I've been battling long COVID, MECFS, ME/CFS. If you're wondering what that stands for, look it up. It's kind of difficult to pronounce, okay? It's something like myalgic encephalomyelitis chronic fatigue syndrome. So I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. Obviously, chronic fatigue syndrome isn't too bad, but yeah, anyway. So what I deal with that is obviously fatigue. A lot of, and it's more than, oh, I feel tired. It is debilitating where I can't control it. I'm just passing out. Okay. So yeah, I deal with that. Also a lot of brain fog. And it's my belief that the reason why it happens is because of chronic inflammation, which I deal with basically in my chest area, starting in my larynx, going all the way down to the top of my abdomen here, mostly in this area. Let me move my hair here a minute. Mostly right here in this pectoral region. It's really bad in there. And it will shoot down here, my chest here, down around, all the way up underneath my breast, going around my breast here. Sometimes it'll shoot into my breast. But where it really shoots down into is my arm and hand, to the point where they get paralyzed. And this is my right hand is my dominant. So, and like I said, basically it'll affect these two fingers where they'll get fused together. Sometimes my pinky also. So I'll wind up kind of like this, and I can't move them at all. And it's all from having COVID 3 years ago. That's how long I've been dealing with this. And it's been getting worse over the course of the last year. Everything will spasm so horribly bad in my chest that my body will actually choke me to death. Or at least try and choke me to death. I mean, it'll just cramp up so horribly bad. I have to hold my breath until the spasm subsides. I have been seeing the Mayo Clinic basically since last fall. This is almost spring. Actually, spring will happen tomorrow, 2026. And I've been seeing Mayo Clinic since last fall, off and on. Got to a point where basically I had to, initially I was seeing the primary physician, and he sent me over to a pulmonologist. We had testing done there. The big thing was, question was whether it was asthma. I basically told him right out it's not. I got tested for asthma, proved wrong, that it isn't. The pulmonologist said, that's all right, there's nothing that I can do. And that's when I got sent over to the Department of Interactive, I think that's the correct term, Interactive Medicine. And that's where I got my long COVID ME/CFS diagnosis. I get inflamed a lot by storms, depending on certain conditions with them. Low pressure systems are the worst, even if it's remnants. They are the worst. And I got proof of that, of course, again. Here recently with the, Tuesday night, we got another. So we've been having a lot of storms over the last week and a half, and that's including this past weekend where we got a blizzard. that blew through. Dumped about a couple feet of snow this past weekend, and then I went out to work Monday night, and then Tuesday we got another one in. It wasn't that terribly bad, but the conditions were right to flare me up. And I have been taking some supplements. I'm not a big pill popper. I was trying my damnedest to avoid having to take medication because I know how my body reacts. My body is very, very sensitive to things now, and even supplements or even over-the-counter stuff. Yeah, I can just pass right out, or I'll have some sort of effects or whatever. So anyway, here recently, I've gotten to a point. I was taking supplements, still am taking supplements to help keep down with the inflammation, and to try and repair as much as possible. But I got to a point where I felt like, okay, we need to calm down these muscle spasms that I keep having with the storms. At least my body isn't trying to choke me to death anymore. So that's a huge improvement. And I'm not getting flared up with every single storm that's going through now. But now it's more of a matter of, okay, with certain storms or even with light issues or what have you, at least it's the issues that I'm having is a lot lighter. But now, like with this latest one that went through, we only got like maybe an inch or two of snow, but it was the right conditions to where it flared me up in here. And then yesterday, aside from doing all of this stuff, I've also been on an anti-inflammatory diet, no gluten, no dairy, and then certain grains, because they can have a tendency to upset my system as well, like brown rice. Brown rice is a big one for me, so I can't use a traditional gluten-free flours. I can only use either regular rice flour, like white rice flour, okay, or what I typically stick with are nut flours, okay, so like almond flour, okay, or chickpea flour, things like that, or basically bean flours, okay, whether it be like lentil flour or chickpea flour. And I use actually, and of course, with no dairy, that includes no eggs, so I use chickpea flour as substitute for my, excuse me, I know, the brain, and of course I'm inflamed right now. So anyway, yeah, I use chickpea flour in substitute for my eggs, and then I use coconut oil in substitute for butter. So, or olive oil, depending on what I'm making. If it's cooking, I might use either coconut oil or avocado oil or olive oil. But for baking, I typically will use coconut oil. I've even experimented with peanut butter, so kind of mixed results there. So anyway, but yeah, I get inflamed when I'm getting. That's what I was trying to circle back to. I know I lose my train of thought quite a bit, unfortunately, and get sidetracked. And it's not ADHD; it's because of the brain fog and headaches and so forth I deal with. And of course, I had to take quite a bit of Cyclobenzaprine here recently, so I'm got a little bit of a hangover today, I guess you could say. So yeah, when I'm getting inflamed, I believe with what is happening, because there's just so much inflammation in my body, and with having testing done at Mayo, it showed that I had a ton of inflammation. So anyway, I think that's what is happening. is because there's so much inflammation, and all of my central nervous system is just in, I guess you could say, emergency mode or whatever. It's firing off so many messages to the brain. Hey, I got tons of inflammation here, do something, basically. Um, that the brain gets overloaded. So I get brain fog, or I just pass right out. And sometimes I don't even feel, I won't even be in pain or anything, and I'm just passing out, and I can't control it. Even if I was to drink tons of caffeine, eat tons of sugar, it wouldn't matter. If anything, both of those would be detrimental for me. I'm also, aside from dealing with that, I'm also a type 1 diabetic, so yeah, all the sugar and even the caffeine raises your blood sugars. And the caffeine actually is bad for this because caffeine has a tendency to dilate your blood vessels, and that's part of what is being affected also, is the vascular system. So anyway, I was going to be starting physical therapy last week, but I had to change the appointment because of some things that were going on. Then I rescheduled for this week, actually yesterday, but unfortunately the doctor's office called and said that they had a family emergency, so they had to reschedule for next week. So if anything, it wound up being a good thing, because now that I've gone through all of this, especially, hi, somebody wants to say hello. You want to say hi? And she precious. Say hi. No. She's such a cutie. So anyway, hi. How you doing? Hi, Mommy. Are you talking to me, Mommy? No, I'm talking to the people on the camera. She's like, who are the people on the camera? I don't know. They don't ever say hi to me. Say hi while you're here. So, anywho, I know. Such a cutie. So anyway, with that, having everything happen here recently, I can let the doctor know, and maybe he can suggest some like stretches for when I'm getting the flare-ups and so forth. So I was trying to do things myself, and that's the thing too. I've been trying to do things with myself with doing yoga, and unfortunately, I've been feeling like I've just been hurting myself. So I can let the doctor know, what's been going on and everything, and maybe he can offer some suggestions. And unfortunately, because I got flared up with that storm Tuesday night, I was doing okay yesterday, and then I decided to make a cake using the almond flour, my chickpea flour, this and that, and unfortunately, and I was okay afterwards, threw the cake in the oven, let it bake, brought it out, started cleaning up the kitchen, and then that's when I started flaring up, and I wound up having to take another cyclobenzaprine. I only take a quarter because it's the 5 milligram pills. I'm directed to take 2.5 to 5 per day, up to 3 times a day as needed. I have been on a regimen of taking a quarter at nighttime when I take my supplements, but I had to take an extra one yesterday, and of course that made me pass right out. So, but anywho, yeah. How you doing? And this one is very happy because she got fresh litter yesterday. I had to ask for help with it, but you want to say hi? Yeah. I have tried doing my own physical therapy. Hi. Like I said, with doing the yoga, but I feel like I need better guidance with things. I have this gripper that my friend's daughter, I've been staying with friends for the last year, and they've been wonderful with helping me out, because of course I'm in financial ruin because of everything. I have no credit left. Can't afford to buy my own car even. Yeah, what is that? But anyway, their daughter had this gripper. Nice thing about it is you can adjust the poundage on it. I got it set for 20 pounds. Ah, no, don't bite me. Mommy, I want your attention. I got it set for the lowest setting, which is 20 pounds. So I do this, you know, I do it both sides actually. Once a day, both hands. I'm up to 20 both directions right now. Okay, and I keep it on the low setting. I also have, I'll show you guys, this is something else that my friend Angie had that she gave me. She showed them to me and I'm like, oh, that looks so good for physical therapy with this, and it has been. Some Baoding balls, okay? You might have seen them like in movies or whatever, where people, it's kind of hard to do when you have a cat on your lap. Here, okay, there we go. So anyway, you just, circle them around here in your hand like so, okay? But from what I have read, do it like 1 to 5 minutes per day, okay? This hand, my right hand, since how this is my tough hand, I do it for 1 minute. I was up to doing 2 minutes before we got these storms through, but so I cut it back to 1 minute, and it's been hard. So yeah, you just circle them around. And you can get them going really, really good so they sound like wind chimes, basically. But you don't just do it the one direction. You do it for like 1 to 5 minutes in the one direction. It's hard. There we go. And then you do them the other direction for 1 to 5 minutes. This direction is a little bit more difficult for me. And I feel it go straight up my arm. So, but yeah, you just one direction or the other. And you don't have to necessarily buy these. You could just do, like balls that you get out of the gumball machine or whatever. Or if you have, like some sort of small balls like this, okay? Just, do them. And once you get the hang of it and you know how your fingers should be moving, even if, like, say, for instance, you're at work or something and you want to just move your fingers and like you're actually doing the balls but not having them in there. If maybe having balls in your hands is too much initially, at least get the feel of it at first with how they should be, and then just mimic that motion in your hands to help rebuild. So, but I thought I'd pass that along. If you want to get yourself a set, they're called Baoding. It's Baoding. Okay, so I've been doing that also as a way for physical therapy, help keep that motion going. Especially since, this is my dominant hand, but it's helping to build my less dominant hand. So maybe I might be able to do things with this hand as well. Like writing and so forth. I've tried training myself in the past to do writing with my less dominant hand, but it hasn't worked out very well. So, anywho, that's pretty much everything I wanted to pass along to you guys with what's going on here recently. I know I've been doing a little bit more videos here lately because of new developments and so forth. And my whole goal of this is to pass along information. If somebody might be dealing with something, either dealing with the same thing or something similar or what have you, maybe things that I'm doing might help somebody else. So, and I'll admit that it also helps with documenting things for doctors so that they can see. And it's funny, when I do mention to the doctors I document things, it seems like that they get nervous. It's like, no, I'm not recording you right now. I tell them I'm documenting it for you because I've had doctors who didn't believe me with what I was trying to tell them. I had one doctor, just to give you an example, he was a pulmonologist, and I tried to explain to him that it isn't my breathing affecting my chest, it's my chest affecting my breathing, that I keep getting these muscle spasms in here and everything. He was trying to denounce me having muscle spasms. No, it's not your muscles, it's your breathing. We get that under control. This will help. And I'm like, no, that's not what's happening. Even with another pulmonologist that I was had seen just one time. That's basically the one who I was finally able to prove that it's not asthma, who ordered the asthma test. And I was trying to explain to him with the allergy situation, it's not my allergies. The mucus, the stuff isn't forming in here, it's forming down here and then going up. And he's just like, no, that's impossible. That's not the way it works. It goes here and then it drips down. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had that in the past. And my mom dealt with it constantly. But I don't have allergy issues. Yeah, I tested positive for several allergens. But they don't bother me that bad. What bothers me is when this in here, it's flaring up, and this is where I'm forming the mucus, and then it's going up. He's, what? He wasn't understanding that. That's an impossibility. I'm like, well, that's what's happening. And the only time I'm getting inflammation in here is when I'm getting inflammation in here. So, or like with storms, and I'm getting the pressure headaches, and it'll wind up affecting this in here as well. So, those are that's when things are getting bad with what would traditionally be, allergy issues or asthma or what have you. It's not that. It's something else that is affecting. Well, then that's how I got diagnosed with the ME/CFS. So anyway, things have been tough, not just with me physically, but of course it's affecting me financially. I'm in an area that it doesn't help. I'm living in an area where I get where we get a lot of storms, so of course that's affecting my inflammation. I moved here a year ago, basically got rid of everything I owned, took a huge risk to come here, just so I could go to Mayo in hopes I could get some help. And they have helped, but we got to get things to a point where I can start living on my own again, because right now I can't even live on my own. I mean, yesterday, which needing to change out her litter, I couldn't do that by myself. I was in so much pain that I couldn't even lift her litter box. And that happens to me a lot, where I can't lift things. And then all of a sudden it'll clear up and poof, I can lift cases of water. And I mean, I was getting to a point before I started all this, I was getting to a point where I couldn't even lift a gallon of milk. So, I mean, that's pretty bad when you can't even lift a gallon of milk. So, and I do deliveries for a living. Right. So, anywho, yeah, that's where I've been at, either my body trying to choke me to death or can't lift a gallon of milk. I'm lucky. I was starting to wonder if I was even going to be able to lift an apple. But no, I'm trying to get myself back to a point where I can live on my own. But I'm getting to a point still yet where I'll admit I'm still worried. And I am working on, right now I'm a delivery driver. I'm working, there are some weeks I'm working less than 20 hours, less than part-time even, if you want to call it that. I mean, there's some weeks, like I think it was last week I worked one day. That was it. So far this week, and this is Thursday now, I've only worked Monday so far. So, I'm in hopes, I'm determined I'm going to get back out to work today. So yeah, I was even to a point, I was renting a car through one of Uber's partners, but unfortunately I had to turn it in because I couldn't keep up with the payments anymore. I owe back payments to them for that. Credit is of course ruined, and right now I'm working on trying to get on disability. So I didn't. It was a difficult decision because I feel that I still could. I still feel like I have a lot of years left in me and so forth. I feel like I've always been an independent person and everything, but I'm at a point where I have to do something. I can't keep living here, basically living off my friends forever either. I mean, yeah, they've been great and everything, but it's not fair, and I've had to live off people over the last 3 years, and but unfortunately, I haven't had the proper diagnoses. I haven't been able to even be able to get proper care to be able to do anything. Now I feel like I'm getting proper care, but um, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. So, and I got to get back down to Mayo too. And unfortunately, it's an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. But and in a way, I haven't minded not going down there because the weather has been horrendous. I mean, like the blizzard that we just had go through this past weekend, roads were shut down, or I should say, the road that the 52 basically was shut down between here. I'm up here, the Twin Cities, and Mayo's down in Rochester. And it's normally it's an hour and a half drive. Up to 2 hours if you make any stops along the way, pee breaks. But like with the blizzard that we had just had this past weekend, they shut down the 52. So it was almost completely shut down. It was in parts, it was shut down basically, but it was basically shut down. So I don't mind holding off going back down there until all this winter weather ceases and we get into spring, let all the snow melt and so forth. And yeah, and it definitely will be all melting this weekend. Yesterday we got it up into the mid 40s. We went from low 20s up into the mid 40s yesterday, and this weekend we are actually tickling the 70s. I was showing, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, 73 degrees. I'm like, whoa, okay, I think it was Saturday. But today, I think we're supposed to get up into the 50s. Today, tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think it's supposed to be 60s, and then Saturday, 70s. And then we're supposed to scale back to the 40s. But then we're supposed to be jumping back up into the 50s again. So hopefully, we're in the clear with getting back down into the 20s and more snow. So, with it being spring. But, winter lasts a long time up here in the Great White Way. So we'll see. But it's hard to believe. I mean, a lot of the snow has melted already. It's hard to believe that we just had snow again just 2 days ago. So, yeah. But anywho, I really should get myself going. It's almost 11:30, and I need to run down to the store, get something to cook, and so forth. So, yeah. Anywho, that's all I got for you is for right now. I hope this helps somebody, all right? Take it easy out there. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I love you guys, all right? Talk to y'all soon. Love you.